What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with what's next for Shavkat Rakhmonov after UFC 310 win. Shavkat Rakhmonov remains undefeated following UFC 310, but the welterweight contender went to the judges' scorecard for the first time in his career against the very game Ian Machado Gary. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. So what's next for the undefeated welterweight? All signs point to the champion, Belal Muhammad. Rakhmonov controlled much of the action early on in the clinch, and he also tagged Gary with a couple of nice shots. The Irish fighter kept coming, however, and although Rakhmonov took him down several times, Gary defended well from the bottom. Late in the fight, after the fight hit the deck once again, Gary managed to take the back of the Kazakh fighter. Gary threatened with rear naked choke attempts, but eventually, Rakhmonov spun out. After the fight, Muhammad entered the cage to face off with Rakhmonov, which makes sense given that the fight with Gary was set up as a title shot eliminator. Rakhmonov was originally scheduled to challenge Muhammad at UFC 310, but after the champion was forced to the sidelines, Gary was tapped to face Rakhmonov in the co-headliner. Now the question is, will Rakhmonov make Muhammad's reign a short one? Or did Gary show that Rakhmonov is indeed beatable? What do you think? Ian Gary came out during his post-fight press conference and said he believes he didn't lose the fight.
I wanted to come out here and talk to you guys because in victory and defeat, I'm still the same person. I still want to come out here and give you guys what you deserve, the knowledge. I am humble in victory and defeat, I always have been. And I do not feel like I lost today. My hand might not have got raised, but I came out and I fought a giant. I came out and I fought the boogeyman, and I showed that he's human. I went out there on 3 weeks' notice. I saved this event. I saved this card against the scariest man in the division. And I proved tonight, on short notice, that I can absolutely be a champion. And I can do it for 5 rounds, and there's no holes in my game.
Khamzat sends a warning to Sean Strickland plus Strickland fight announcement. It wasn't that long ago really when Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland seemed to be on good terms. Some might even say they were buddies. But as 2024 comes to a close, it looks like an all-out war between the two could erupt. As Chimaev was rising in the middleweight rankings, he spent some time training with Strickland, and the outspoken American acknowledged that the Chechen fighter was a smashing machine. But now that both men are at the top of the 185 division, tensions have ratcheted up big time. If you followed Strickland throughout 2024, you know that he repeatedly insisted he should be next in line for a crack at the current champion, Dricus du Plessis. But following Chimaev's dominant and wince-inducing victory over Robert Whittaker at UFC 308, many believe that Boers could be next for DDP. Accordingly, the growing rift between Chimaev and Strickland become a chasm, especially after the latter posted this comment via X. Understand one thing, I am next in line. It's been said, it's been written. January/February, me and Dricus du Plessis are scrapping. Go back to Chechnya and wait a few months. Wait, sorry, UAE. You're not allowed in Chechnya. But hey, crypto scams while you wait. Now clearly Strickland hit on a couple of pretty sensitive issues there, which could very well be why Boers recently posted these comments. Where are you, Strickland? And alongside a picture of him and Strickland following a training session, Chimaev added, "It's okay bro, ha ha ha." That comment could be a throwback to what Chimaev maintains went down in their sparring sessions. While talking about his time training with the Americans following his big win at UFC 308, Chimaev claimed the following, while also alluding to comments Strickland had been firing at him. "We sparred with Strickland and trained with him, so I don't know. We've been good when we've been in the gym, but when I go back to Sweden, he starts to tweet and do some things. He didn't like when I said I'd tap him out. Yeah, I tapped him out many times. Chokes, different things, you know." So it's going to be interesting to see where things go from here. If you know anything about Strickland, it's pretty damn rare that he doesn't respond to an insult or call out from another fighter. All that aside, could we see Chimaev and Strickland throw hands in the octagon anytime soon? As it stands right now, it certainly looks like a possibility. On Saturday, the UFC announced that Strickland is going to rematch DDP at UFC 312 in Australia on February 8th. So if Strickland reclaims the title, and some might argue that it's a big if, one would think that Chimaev will face him next. But what do you think? Do you see Strickland defeating du Plessis and fighting Boers in mid to late 2025? Up next, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura recap. Alexandre Pantoja nearly ate a massive knee early on into his bout with Kai Asakura. But once again, the Brazilian fighter demonstrated he's in a class of his own at 125. Asakura threatened with a punishing knee and heavy punches early on, but the champion continued to pressure and fired back big shots of his own, one of which momentarily sent Asakura to the deck. In round 2, Pantoja continued to pressure, and after the fight went to the floor once again, the champion started working a rear naked choke and Asakura defended admirably, but Pantoja switched grips and the fight was stopped as it appeared the Japanese fighter went out. So what's next for Pantoja? It's kinda hard to say. After the bout, Pantoja invited the legendary Demetrius Johnson to come back to the UFC for a scrap, but given that DJ is retired and likely under contract with ONE still, that seems unlikely. Dana White also reacted to the call out during the post-fight press conference.
Is that something you would entertain even?
I don't know. That's interesting. Listen, you know how I was the one beating the drum about Demetrius Johnson a long time ago. And yeah, I don't know.
Pantoja has already defeated #1 contender Brandon Royval twice, and he scored 3 wins over former champ and current #2 ranked Brandon Moreno. The #3 ranked Amir Albazi is coming off a loss to Moreno, and Kai Kara France is ranked #4, and he's coming off a stoppage victory over Steve Erceg. But Kai Kara France also dropped losses to Albazi and Moreno prior to that. Could we see Pantoja move up to bantamweight? He has a well-documented beef with Sean O'Malley on account of their intense sparring session a while back, but it's very unlikely that the UFC would move Pantoja up for a non-title fight. Who do you want to see fight the flyweight king? Arman Tsarukyan has a secret move for Islam Makhachev. Now we finally know when the long-awaited rematch between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan is going down, and the challenger claims he's planning a nasty surprise for the champion. After months of speculation as to if and when we would see Arman and Islam run it back, recently it was confirmed that they will fight at UFC 311 on January 18th. Ever since Tsarukyan dropped a decision loss to Makhachev in 2019, he's been rampaging his way back to a rematch with the lightweight king. Well, following the UFC 311 announcement, a trailer for a documentary about Tsarukyan's title shot was released. In the video, the Armenian fighter claimed that he has a trick up his sleeve for the rematch, which will play a decisive role in the fight. So at a recent press conference to promote UFC 311, Arman was asked if he could provide some more information about what he's planning. Not surprisingly, the talented lightweight opted to keep his cards close to his chest.
How can I tell you my secret technique? So it's gonna be surprise in January 18th. I wanna get bonus. That's why I'm doing that secret technique.
So what do you think the technique or surprise could be? Or do you think Arman's just saying this as a way to get into Islam's head? And do you think that will work? Arman and Islam have traded verbal shots since they fought for the first time, but it is evident that the two have respect for each other. After all, we're talking about two of the best, most well-rounded lightweights in the galaxy. Case in point, when Makhachev was asked about Tsarukyan and the fact that he's facing him again, the champion acknowledged how good of a fighter the contender is.
If you watch the rankings, Arman is a #1 contender, and all my life I told people I want to fight with the real contender who deserve high-level fighters. That's why he deserves, we will fight. Yeah, if you watch his skills, he have good skills, wrestling, and who have the wrestling skills, they control, they control lightweight many years ago, beginning from the Khabib. Now it's myself and Arman have good skills. That's why he's a #1 right now. And
now, it'd be interesting to see if the verbal warfare ramps up as UFC 311 approaches, especially during fight week. But as it stands right now, it would be kind of surprising if tensions ratchet up too much. Islam mentioned Khabib while reflecting on his friend's reign over the division. Some believe the retired legend was on hand at the presser, but that he was wearing a mask and sunglasses. Check out this photo. Whether it was Khabib or not, the expectation is he'll be in the corner of Islam at UFC 311. Who do you like in the rematch? Are we going to hear Ann Still on January 18th or new lightweight champion of the world following a headliner? Now let's take a look at what's next for Ciryl Gane at UFC 310. Ciryl Gane recorded his second straight win since his quick and disappointing loss to Jon Jones. But since a lot of people likely scored the fight for Alexandre Volkov, it would be interesting to see what comes next for the French heavyweight. Given the striking abilities of both men, not too many people were predicting the scrap would feature lengthy grappling battles on the ground, but that's exactly what happened. While Gane had his moments, Volkov had more, one of which included tagging the former interim champion with a beautifully timed spinning back fist. After 3 rounds, it seemed like Volkov was on the verge of avenging his 2021 decision loss to Gane, but 2 of the judges scored the fight for Gane, who had already started heading out of the cage when the decision was announced. While talking to Joe Rogan after, Gane reported that he broke a couple of toes moments into the fight, but even though his performance was likely compromised by the injuries, it would be kind of shocking if the UFC tapped Gane to face the winner of Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, assuming and praying that fight happens. You would think the UFC will want Gane to fight in the interim and try to generate some buzz with a big win? Could the UFC look at having him fight Curtis Blades, who's ranked number 5? Gane has already defeated the number 4 ranked Sergey Pavlovich. Or could the UFC call on Gane to face the winner of the Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak scrap, which is expected to go down at UFC 311? What do you think? And who would you like to see Gane fight next? What's next for Aljamain Sterling after UFC 310? Aljamain Sterling was unable to hand Movsar Evloev his first defeat at UFC 310, but the former bantamweight champion certainly has no reason to hang his head following the fight. Sterling, who was a significant underdog on the betting lines heading into the contest, pushed Evloev early with his wrestling and grappling. For a few moments in the opening round, it actually looked like Sterling might score a submission win after he took Evloev's back. The massive featherweight, however, scrambled out of the precarious position and did so several more times in the fight. As the bout wore on, Evloev worked his way into dominant positions several times and had Sterling on the defensive. After 3 rounds, Evloev was awarded the unanimous decision win. So where does Aljo go from here? That's a good question. The bout was Sterling's second at featherweight, since he dropped the bantamweight title to Sean O'Malley in August 2023. After moving up to featherweight, Sterling recorded a decision win over Calvin Kattar this past April. Given that Aljo more than held his own against the rising contender, Evloev, one would think that he'd be tapped for a fight with another top 10 contender next. After all, heading into UFC 311, Evloev was ranked number 5 in the UFC's featherweight division, and now he's won 9 straight in the UFC. So one would think the Russian is definitely in the title shot mix. Could we see Sterling face someone like Arnold Allen, who's also lost to Evloev and is ranked number 7? Brian Ortega is ranked number 6, but the expectation is that T-City is headed to 155. Or what about Yair Rodriguez, who hasn't fought since he was submitted by Ortega? The must-see fighter is currently ranked number 4. Josh Emmett, who's ranked number 8, has not competed since he torched Brian Mitchell last December, so the heavy-handed fighter could get the call to fight Sterling. Aljamain Sterling reacted to his fight on social media by writing, "Tough fight. I thought I might have edged it out against a tough opponent, but we came up short. Thank you all for the love and support, and I hope the performance was a fun one for you all to watch. Movsar is a beast. I showed where I belong in this division. For now, we decompress and heal up, then get ready to climb the ladder again. The dream doesn't stop unless you give up. I'll be back." He also shared this video with the tweet.
Tough one, heartbreaker for sure, but just want to let everybody know I'm alright. Really good fight. I hope that performance did not disappoint you guys. I hope you guys had a fun time watching that. Movsar's a beast. Hats off, no excuses. That's exactly what I wanted. I want to give the best of me, have the best of him, and really see where we're at. See if I can make this quest to fight for gold again at a new weight class. Just constantly chasing new goals, new dreams. So thank you guys for supporting me. If you guys want to come out tonight, we'll be at Excess hanging out with my friends and my family. We'll be there, show some love if you want to. If not, stay safe. Again, sorry for letting you guys down. And hope you guys enjoyed the performance. Thank you for all the love and support. And we'll be back, baby. We'll be back.
A fan reacted by saying, "Gave him his toughest fight for sure. Amazing performance. I thought you had it. That 3rd round was all you, but you bounced back. Very excited for your next fight." To which Aljo responded by saying, "Appreciate all you guys, man. I really do. I need to go watch that 3rd round. That was the deciding round. And I thought I did slightly more early in the round, but I have to see the last 1.5 minutes to really know if it was the right call or not. Nonetheless, it was a good scrap." The MMA community goes off on Shavkat Rakhmonov after he allegedly cheated against Ian Gary by grabbing the fence and grabbing into his cup. Fans speculated that this could be why Ian's shorts ripped in the back and needed to be replaced. In a few screenshots, we can see Shavkat clearly grabbing Ian under his shorts by his cup, which is against MMA rules that states no touching external gear like the gloves, shorts, or cup. What do you think of this situation? Here's what the MMA community had to say. Well, if Shavkat wasn't literally cheating, maybe something could have happened there. Every time Shavkat cups the balls, I'm waiting for him to ask Gary to cough. Shavkat just blatantly cheating by grabbing Ian's balls multiple times against the cage. There's a rule for no grabbing external gear for a reason, or else everyone would grab the gloves, cups, shorts, etc. This is probably why Ian's shorts ripped. Why was Shavkat grabbing his balls? Shavkat nonstop grabbing Ian's crotch, what a weirdo. Shavkat out here ripping shorts and grabbing junk like he trained with Diddy. Shavkat has no chin. I didn't think he'd get subbed there, but bro so clearly kept grabbing gloves. If someone can go back, watch how many times Shavkat was grabbing the fence in the first 2-3 minutes of the first round trying to get better positioning against the cage. Shavkat is such a cheater. First, Ian Gary complains to the ref about him grabbing his gloves, and then he starts grabbing his cup. How the did this cheater win? I feel bad for Ian. Sadiq Yusuf said, "Did anyone else see him grabbing balls on the fence?" Fans replied by saying, Multiple times too. The second time he was legit trying to crush his balls, it seemed like.